Right, this module is going to be about the 7 continents and the 4 oceans, and this is something that you should probably be familiar with at this point. And I know they don't start teaching social studies as early as they did when I was in school. I think I learned this probably in 2nd grade, but I mean, even 5th or 6th grade, they should have at least familiarized you with this. And I apologize for the squeaking. That's this one, who decides that every time it's time to record a video, it's time for him to play with his squeaky toy. Okay, so obviously we're here, North America. South America is right below us. And, you know, we say that we live in, you know, in the South. You may have, you know, we use that as a region. That does not mean that we live in South America. That means that we live in the southern part of the United States, not even the southern part of North America, which would actually be more Central America. We're about right here, give or take. Then if you move further east, you end up with Europe. Below Europe is Africa. And then you have Asia, and sometimes this whole thing is referred to as Eurasia, but there's a long history behind why Europe and Asia are considered to be separate continents, and it has to do with Europeans believing that they were superior to everybody else, pretty much. And then you have Australia down here, which is over here where you can't hardly see because there's a shadow, and Antarctica down here at the bottom. And all of the continents are inhabited except Antarctica, which doesn't have any like natural inhabitants there. There are, I mean, there's a research base there, or several, and there's people from other countries that have gone there to do research, but like you're not gonna find native Antarctic people there. You'll find some wildlife, but that are native. We also have 4 oceans, and some maps will say 5, and we'll get to that in a minute. The Pacific Ocean here is on both sides, obviously, because again we have a round Earth on a flat screen, so we've had to cut it somewhere and open it up. Basically, is what we've done here. So the Pacific Ocean is on both sides. We have the Atlantic Ocean here, which is between, say, North America and Europe, or South America and Africa, or North America and Africa. The Indian Ocean is down here in this area between Africa, Asia, and Australia. And the easiest way to remember that is that India is right here, right above the Indian Ocean. And then up here at the very top, there's the Arctic Ocean. And it's sort of like the Pacific in that it's on both sides in this case. It is just kind of like a circle at the top. Down here, this is usually referred to as the Southern Ocean. And it's not labeled on this particular map, but it's not labeled on all maps either, but it is on many. And that's the ocean that's nearest to Antarctica. As far as climate zones, which we'll get into a little bit more at the beginning of the school year, this area right here in the middle, near where the equator would be, that's going to be your warm areas, your tropical areas. In between, kind of like where we are, and this other part down here that's kind of a mirror of where we are. It's going to be more of your temperate climate zones, so more than just warm and sunny all the time, or raining, as it, you know, sometimes in those rainforests. And then the further away from the equator you get in either direction, the colder it gets. So the North Pole and the South Pole are actually going to have very similar climates. In this case, it stops being the further south you go, the warmer it gets, and it starts being the further south you go, the colder it gets once you cross the equator. The warmest areas are going to be right in the middle. And so these areas along here, these ocean areas are going to have warmer water. The Atlantic is usually somewhat warmer than the Pacific. Even if you go to areas like California, you're still pretty far north, I mean, all things considered. And so, you know, if you go to Florida over here, the water is warm, but over here in California, it's usually pretty cold. Even if you go to LA or San Diego, it's still kind of chilly to get in the water. And that just has to do with climate. So that's a brief overview of the 7 continents and 4 oceans. I hope this video was informative for you, and there will be some questions for you to answer to move on to the next module. Thank you.